So yes, I'm in the same position as I was last time, and I'm in my pajamas because I am filming at night again, because this is what the last 3 weeks of my high school career looks like. School homework and filming at like midnight. Don't you just love school? That. Hi guys, it's Alicia, and today I am doing my story about how I got Kai. So you guys probably have already seen last week's video, which is the story on how I got Jep and the really detailed version. So I haven't really told the detailed version of both my horses. Kai's isn't quite as long as Jep's, but I mean, I'm gonna tell it anyway. I actually really like this position for filming, apart from the fact that you can see my unmade bed. So last time you could see Kyle sleeping in the background because he was sick. But anyway, I'm just gonna get straight into it. So pretty much the same boss that I got Jep off, I also got Kai off. So I suggest watching that video first because it gives you a bit more background on that boss and the information that will help you with this video. So pretty much I was at work one day, so I work there as a casual after school hours, and I was there on the weekend. So everyone else does like split shifts where they work in the morning and afternoon, and then I stay there the whole day, because I just did little jobs around the place. And pretty much I was told, hey, we have a foal in who's been rejected by his mum, so we need to go and feed him every like 3 hours. So that was my job for the day, and I was like, alright, cool. So anyway, I walked down to the broodmare barn because they have different like barns for different things. They have like the quarantine barn, the broodmare barn, which is like the breeding kind of barn, and then they have the racehorse barn. So I walked down to the broodmare barn where I met the little guy, and at this stage he was a bit under a week old, tiny little thing, had this tiny little rug on that was still way too big on him. So I went down there and he was just in the stable at this stage, and I was like, oh my god, this thing's cute. He just had this huge forehead, like it was just this monstrous forehead, and I was like, you're such a funny looking little dude, but he was so cute. And I ended up actually taking his rug off him because like his shoulders were like getting caught in the neck part because it was too big on him, and this was like a foal rug, like probably not even a foal rug, it literally looked like a dog rug. It was that small, it was like a newborn foal rug. It just didn't fit him. So I took the rug off him, and which was a very hard job because he was very, very cheeky. Like he was just wanting to play, he kept running around, he was pig rooting and like kicking out at me, and like I know foals do that, I've worked with foals before, but he was just being extra cheeky, this little dude. And so anyway, I filled up his little baby bottles to give him, and he just like suckled on it, and it was so cute. I filmed him doing it and it was just so cute. I just found him so adorable, and I was like patting his head. I was like, you're the cutest thing ever, like oh my gosh, how are you real? So pretty much when I was working there, I was looking after him quite a lot. I was feeding him during the day, and eventually he moved on to just drinking the milk out of a bucket. So the story with him when he kind of got to work, he wasn't a racehorse or anything. He was just bred through the manager, through his own horses, and from a stallion that was from Europe. So his sire was an Arabian and his dam was a Australian stock horse. The sire lives in Europe. I'm not sure of his name, I'd have to get it from my boss. From what my boss has told me, his bloodlines are pretty impressive, and his dad's a pretty nice horse and successful over in Europe. So yeah, so he's 50% Arabian, 50% Australian stock horse. And so his mum, however, was a first-time mum, so she was a maiden mare. We tried everything we could, but she just wouldn't take to him. He was left with his mum for quite a while. However, his mum got a bit aggressive towards him. So in the broodmare barn, the stables, they have like stables for the newborn foals, and they have a separate little smaller stable that's right up against the big stable that the foal can be put into. They normally do that when they're starting to wean them off, but in this case it was, okay, we have to separate Kai from his mum while we're not here just in case she tries to kill him. So he was in that majority of the time, and during the day he'd be let out with his mum, but she just didn't take to him at all. Every time he got near her to try to drink, she'd kick out and just charge him, like she was not having it. So He eventually got moved on to another mare. She was one of the older mares. She was a draft cross, and gorgeous big thing. I'm not sure how old she was. I think she's probably in her 20s. She was pretty old. She's the mare that they bought for the race stud for the thoroughbreds that, you know, don't take to their foals, and or when a foal's mum dies or something, she's the mare that they, you know, put onto the foal. So she was perfect. She was very good to Kai, except by that stage Kai just didn't really care. He was kind of like, you know, you're not my mum, like, I know you're not, I don't really care for you. So he was kind of going off on his own. He was pretty independent from a young age after being rejected by his mum. He was fairly like, I don't, like, no, it's okay, I'll do my own thing. After he got weaned off his baby bottles, he went to like a bucket where you just mix up the milk in the bucket and give it to him, and he'd just like slurp it up. It was so cute. He wasn't on milk quite as long as most foals normally are, because after going to the bucket, they began leaving like a bucket in his paddock, so, and it'd just get filled up every few hours, and he'd just kind of go and drink it as he wanted to. Because he was quite independent at a young age, he was kind of quite ahead of most foals. So he stopped drinking milk earlier than most foals do. He got weaned earlier than most do, and, you know, all of that kind of stuff. Just because, I think it was, which was all impacted because he was rejected by his mum. Like, that would have been quite a big reason for all of that. And he ended up, once he got a bit older, he ended up getting weaned off this mum, which he honestly didn't really care. He was kind of like, yeah, whatever, like, I like you, you're my company and stuff, but I know you're not my mum, so you can do whatever you want. He ended up going to my boss's second farm, which is about half an hour away from my work, and it's quite a big farm where he has, like, so many horses. He doesn't know how many horses he owns. And he was just pretty much put into a big herd of horses, and, you know, I mean, that was it. He was put into a big herd of horses and untouched. So when he was at work, he hadn't even been haltered. He did live in the paddock with a halter on, which, just saying, I wouldn't do. But that, you know, they're my work, that's what they did, because he was hard to catch because he's young. He was left in the paddock with a halter on. However, he wasn't halter trained, so he didn't know how to lead or do anything like that. Because he was just kind of untouched. Apart from feeding him, no one really did anything else with him, just because, I don't know, that's just what they didn't. So then he was sent off to my boss's other farm. And I have quite a lot of videos like that I had filmed on my phone, which I would have already inserted, but of him like running around the paddock, and I was like, oh, he just thinks he's a racehorse. Like, he was, and in the videos of him running around the paddock and stuff, all those photos and videos, he's like a week old, if that. In some of them he's about 2 or 3 weeks old, but you know, all younger than a month old pretty much. And he was a crazy little thing, so much energy in him. Cutest little skinny, scrawny little funny looking little guy. But after he got sent off to my boss's other farm, I didn't see him again. That was kind of it. And I remember joking around with like my friends saying, oh, we should just take him home, like in my car boot, like he was that small, he could have done it. And then a bit later on, it was a few months later, yeah, a few months later, I was at home and like having this family lunch thing, and my auntie goes to me, did you see that is selling that little foal? And I was like, what, really? And he's like, yeah, he put an ad up on Gumtree for him. And I was like, oh, are you serious? Like, oh my god, what? And like, as soon as she told me that, I went on and looked at the ad, and I was like, Mum, we have to get him. Like, oh my gosh. And at this stage, we were kind of looking at getting another horse, because we'd been living in our property for probably a year, no, probably a bit under a year, I don't know. But we had our property now, so we could have another horse. We had room for that, because I don't have to pay adjustment and stuff. So it was a stage where we were looking at buying another horse. I was mainly looking at green horses, like a project horse. So kind of one to take me up the levels and to continue on from Jep, or to do more eventing on, because I don't do much eventing on Jep. But yeah, so we were just kind of looking at that, and it wasn't at a stage where we were seriously going and looking at horses. So it was just kind of the stage of thought. We were like browsing through horsey ads and looking at possibly getting another horse. And you know, I was just saying to Mum how much I wanted him, and Mum's like, are you sure you want like a weanling? Like, this is quite a big thing. It's a lot different from going from a project horse or like a green horse to a 5-month-old weanling. Like, it's a lot different. I was like, oh yes, I want him so bad. Anyway, that was kind of the conversation, and it kind of stopped. Like, it was talked about a few times after that where I'd be like, oh, I wish we could have him, like, oh my gosh. But other than that, I thought it was pretty far-fetched, and that, you know, we wouldn't be able to get a horse. We weren't quite ready at that stage. And fast forward to probably about a month later to my birthday. I had been over at my ex-boyfriend's house, and we were coming home after like his formal. So I didn't know, but Mum had been texting him to be like, oh, don't come home till this certain time, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I come home and like I was told my family was over for like a little lunch thing. I was like, alright, cool, whatever, didn't think much of it. And I mean, I'm sure you've seen the vlog of when I got Kai. If you haven't, it's on my channel. It's literally called Getting a Foal or something, or yeah, Getting my first foal, I don't know, something like that. And I was just like, I got home, I was like, hi, yeah, you know, I was like, I want to ride, hey. That's all I wanted to do. I hadn't like seen my horse in 2 days, and all I wanted to do was go ride Jep. And then they were like, oh my god, though, like come down and look at this echidna behind the tree in Jep's paddock. I was like, oh, okay. So anyway, I was walking down behind the tree, and then I was like, where's Shad? Where's Dad? Shad's my auntie, by the way. And as I walked down to the tree, they come around the other side of the tree with Kai, and I was like, what's this? Who is this? I was like, what, hi. I nearly cried, but I held back because Mum was filming me. But yeah, and pretty much it was Shad on one side and Dad on the other side with 2 lead ropes attached to his halter under his chin, because like he literally didn't know how to be on a halter, so they had 2 of them on either side. And yeah, that was pretty much how I got Kai. And he was five months old at that stage. Now he's a year and 1 month or 2 months old now. So when I got him, as I said, he literally couldn't walk on a halter. He was like, what are you asking? He'd freak out. He hadn't been brushed, hadn't had his feet picked up. He'd been floated twice and not tied up. He just stood there in the float because like he got delivered here, and he just pretty much came with like a cut knee and a cut head because he was just flopping around the float. I was like, okay. So yeah, he hadn't had his feet done, he hadn't been wormed, hadn't had any of that stuff done. So where now he's somewhat well behaved. I mean, he is still a young little baby who is cheeky and likes to occasionally nip you or chase you around the paddock, and you feel like he's gonna kill you because you're like, is he gonna stop? Like literally, I was sitting in the paddock the other day. Well, I wasn't sitting. I had dropped a baling twine over the fence, so I walked in the paddock to go get it bent over. All of a sudden, I hear Kai running behind me, and it was too late to like get up or look, and I was crouching down, and all of a sudden his big head knocks my head. I was like, hi. So he had galloped over me, but because he's quite dopey, he had stopped. Like he tried to stop so he didn't run me over, except he forgot to keep in mind that he's got a big head, and he just donked me. I was like, ow, concussion, okay. And he looked at me to say, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to do that. But yeah, anyway, another story. But yeah, so as I said, he was pretty unhandled when he came to me, but he was also pretty hard to catch, which I found surprising because he had been handled by people at such a young age. But I assume it's because, you know, after being weaned off milk and his mum, he just got put in a paddock and never touched until he got sold. So yeah, now he is extremely easy to catch. Will come up to me in the paddock, like when he was first there, he was kind of like, oh, I don't want to go near you, like please don't touch me. But yeah, he comes over to you in the paddock, he's so friendly. He has so much personality, and now he gets his feet done regularly. He's fine with me picking them up. He halters so well, like he is so good with haltering. Ties up like a charm. Like I literally had him tied up there in the paddock eating his food before. I've walked him down the road. He's fine with cars. He does not like dogs or rabbits or any small animal that goes in his paddock. He literally charges at them and just jumps at them. I don't know. But yeah, I've taken him to HollyHall to when they had a fun day, and there was all these floats and cars and horses and people, and all he did was whinny at like every horse that went past him and every person, as if to say, please come pat me, come love me. The only thing he was funny about was when all this big group of horses galloped past him, and he was like, oh my god, please, why are they trying to kill me? But it was a windy day as well. He went past flags, like I don't know, he was perfect. And he's good to be rugged now. Water is something we will be conquering in summer. We have washed him once with a sponge and he was not a fan, he kicked me. But hey, that's what we're going to focus on in summer. So, I mean, that's pretty much it with Kai and where we're up to at the moment. So, that's my story of how I got Kai. And as I said, if you haven't watched Jep's one, go back to last week's video and it is up. But yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video and comment some video suggestions down below. I will be trying to post pretty regularly until I graduate, but it might be hard in the next couple weeks, but I will try my best. So comment some video ideas down below. Preferably sit down ones because they're a lot easier to film because you can just film them in the middle of the night. But yeah. So comment some like chat videos like these. I love filming these. I just love talking to the camera. Yeah, so comment them below and I'll see you guys for my vlog tomorrow, which of course is another show vlog. Vlog from next week will also be a show vlog, but it will be my first ODE, which I'm extremely nervous for. But hey, we'll see how we go. Alright, so I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye!